A lot of men are not learning a lot about self-awareness, emotional intelligence again, and relationship preparedness, like doing their own inner work, even healing from emotional wounds and scars. And some of them don't even realize that they are um, unhealed, or they have actually have some kind of emotional trauma, just from having the absence sometime of a parent, a mother or a father, experiencing some kind of rejection or abandonment, and they don't even realize, they don't connect it to, they don't correlate their behaviors or the lack of relationship skills and emotional communication skills with experiencing the loss of a parent, whether it was through death or just absence. So that's trauma right there. Experiencing so many tragedies, seeing tragedy, um, dealing with the law, having negative relationship with the law. I mean, all of that is traumatic. Being in gangs, fighting. So having these unhealthy relationships, a lot of men who experience that type of life, and some and others as well, where do they learn healthy relationships? Where do they learn healthy communication? In those type of environments, or in those type of activities, a lot of the relationships has been dysfunctional, and sometimes they don't even know that they are operating in a dysfunctional manner. They don't realize it, so to them it looks normal. Like, it's normal a lot of times for them to be in a relationship where they're arguing all of the time, back and forth, just constant cycling of um, things are good today, they lovey-dovey, but it's just so dysfunctional because you see that all of the time, especially where I grew up. I've seen a lot of couples fighting. I mean, they're outside fighting and yelling. I mean, it gets physical, violent, and then the next day they lovey-dovey. That's real unhealthy. Some of you think that's normal. It's not normal.
You can still get your life back. Get your life back. It's real. Get your life back. Get your life back.
Everyone, I am home. So this here is just, you know what? I'm just going to come on here just as I am. God said, come as you are. Hi, everybody. To those of you who are new to my channel, to my podcast, my name is Cheryl Howard. I am a certified life purpose coach, certified mental health professional, author, and inspirational transformational speaker and educator. And if you want to know more about my courses, my classes, my master classes, my Purpose Passionpreneur Insiders Club, where you can join and be a part of the tribe monthly, go to Get Your Life Back Academy. Get Your Life Back Academy is the name of my academy, and I have programs and services and digital products for you, all for the building up of you emotionally, about finding your purpose, living on purpose and in your passion, learning even how to monetize your purpose and passion to become that entrepreneur, doing the things that you love to do, the things that give you fulfillment, but also helping you to break through barriers so you can propel into your purpose. So we have different barriers in life, but I'm not going to get into that right now because I didn't come on tonight to talk about that from my living room. I actually want to share with you what I have coming. Two things. One thing is I am building my Patreon platform. And so I've been thinking about, what do I want to offer my tribe and those of you who are new to the Get Your Life Back tribe. And so I thought about the relationship piece because a lot of people want me to talk more about building healthy relationships. That's my specialty. I focused on it in school when I did my master's in clinical um, social work. Master's in clinical social work. I focus on children and family. I focus on family counseling. When I got my master's in human services counseling, I focus on marriage and family counseling. Um, when I went to seminary, I focus on not only theological studies, but I had a concentration in pastoral ministry, but in pastoral counseling as well. So, and even in my PhD program that I just took a break from briefly, hopefully I can get back to that soon, it focused on pastoral counseling. So I love to help people grow together. I love love. I like to help others build. I like to build others. I love to serve in that capacity. I am in it to help save families, help families increase or improve their social skills, their communication skills, relationship skills, just so much personal development, self-love, self-esteem, all the things that makes a healthier person, makes a whole person. And then when two whole persons can come together with a healthy mindset, I didn't say perfect because there's nobody perfect, so let's not go there. People go, but I'm not, there's nobody perfect. We already know that. I don't even know why people say that. Anyway, but you can be healthy and whole. You can have an healthy emotional state, learning how to be emotionally regulated, knowing how to cope with situations, knowing how to articulate and express your feelings without becoming aggressive and insulting. That you can do that. And some of you know that already, but trust me, I work with a lot of people throughout the years as a mental health professional, and a lot of us didn't get that training. It wasn't modeled for a lot of people, what healthy relationship looks like. Somebody asked me one day, what is a healthy relationship? What does that look like? Because a lot of us haven't experienced that. Some of us haven't experienced emotionally regulated parents that knew how to come together and reason together and get an understanding using biblical principles, praying together, holding hands, having a meeting about things, having a progress check. How you doing, babe? You good? You good? Oh, I got a bone to pick with you. This is something I have in the podcast that I'm reserving for my future husband, whoever he is. But I have a podcast I'm already preparing now. I'm a visionary, so when I get a revelation or a great idea, and I'm also an adventurist by heart, I just do the blueprint and put it to the side, and I'm telling you, every time when it's the season for God to manifest it, everything just line up. So when he comes, I'm gonna say, look, babe, we gonna do this. But anyway, that's another subject. Anyway, so because we didn't see a lot of these things modeled, like healthy behaviors in front of us, we don't have the tools and the skills. Even communication is a forgotten skill. That's even one of the books that I studied in graduate school when I was studying master's in clinical social work. And did I do it then? Yes, it was in that degree program. There's a book called, I forgot the author. I know the author is on the tip of my tongue, but it's called How Communication is a Forgotten Skill. The book is awesome. I use it in coaching and counseling as well. But learning how to effectively communicate what we're feeling without being insulting and harsh and irrational and unreasonable. Okay, because we become emotionally dysregulated, so we're caught in our feelings, as they say now, and so we don't think clearly, we don't process clearly, and we become more reactive than responsive. Okay, and so this is why I want to talk more about healthy relationships. And so on my Patreon platform that I am currently building right now, I think I'm going to utilize that platform for not only the tribe I have here now, Get Your Life Back Tribe, but for the new people coming in as well, where I will have different services or different things I want to provide for you, products and things you can download, and even some live sessions, couple sessions, marital couple sessions. That is my population. And I like to deal with the husband and wife, because the dynamics is what I focus on. um, I really want to, and especially that the Christian family as well, because there's a biblical, I am Christian based, I'm faith based, and so that will be my main. I'm looking for you, who are believers, and so we have the same value when it comes to marriage, but I want to be able to help you on a whole nother level. So I want to use the Patreon platform to do that and talk a lot about relationship goals and building healthy relationships. So, and I also want to have individuals come on live as well. I didn't want to leave that out on the Patreon platform and on YouTube Live. I got to start doing some live videos on YouTube. I haven't done it. Maybe one time I did do it. But even having individuals pop up, men, women, and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this. For those of you who want to have better, healthy relationships, who want to grow, who want to do more personal development, with the mental and the emotional and the everything, right? The mindset. Let's do some mindset coaching. Let's just get it in. With all of that said, a couple of interviews that I have been planning are focused on relationships. And I'm going to talk to more men on the platform. I love to get their perspective. I've been working with I mean, I work with everybody from children, from 6-year-olds to seniors, right? The majority of the population I work with have been men, even on different areas. When it, even if it is dealing with mental health and um, what's the word I'm looking for? Knowing how to reintegrate back into the community. Because I had clients I used to work with, and when I first got into the mental health field, 2010, I worked with clients who had traumatic brain injuries, and the majority of them at that time were men. And statistics back then even showed there's majority of men who have traumatic brain injuries from specific type of injuries, actually, or incidents, or accidents, or whatever. So I've worked with men for a long time. I'm working with men now, providing coaching, crisis intervention, social work. I'm teaching life skills class. I'm teaching anger management class, emotional regulation. So I'm not just speaking, I'm not just talking from an idealistic place or from experience. I've worked with men and got to hear their perspective, their perception of things, the way they were raised, and why they do, why they say what they say, how they think, and all of that stuff, right? I realized that just like us women, a lot of us may not have grew up in a house where healthy relationships were modeled for us, right? And this is not to blame parents. They have their issues and things they didn't see growing up because we didn't learn, especially in our communities, African Americans, knowing what we have gone through. A lot of times, if you was born in the United States and you have parents who definitely, someone who's aware of their behaviors that are toxic, by your words, your actions, your deeds, how you treat other people, how you allow people to treat you. You could be a victim, or you could be the person that's doing the hurt, causing hurt, projecting hurt and pain on other people, whether it's physically or emotionally as well. But to be aware of it is one of the beginning phases of emotional maturity. You're understanding, you're seeing it. You're like, wow, I need to fix this. I need to work on this. This is not good. This is not healthy. Okay. Listening. So it takes a certain mature person who's willing, or at least can come to the conclusion and realization that I need to change if I want something that's a relationship of value. A successful relationship means one that is working, that is functioning, where we're able to deal with issues, because every relationship is going to have issues. But when it's healthy, you're able to deal with it. You're able to come together, right, and work on it. There's a mindset to work on things. That's the difference. Acknowledging, okay, let's strategize. Let's problem solve. These are all life skills. Problem solving, decision making, communication. All of that is our life skills and relationship skills. And so those are the things I want to talk about. I also forgot to add that a lot of men are not learning a lot about self-awareness, emotional intelligence again, and relationship preparedness, like doing their own inner work, even healing from emotional wounds and scars. And some of them don't even realize that they are unhealed, or they have some kind of emotional trauma, just from having the absence sometime of a parent, a mother or a father, experiencing some kind of rejection or abandonment, and they don't even realize, they don't connect the two, they don't correlate the behaviors or the lack of relationship skills and emotional communication skills with experiencing the loss of a parent, whether it was through death or just absence, right? Or just having a maybe gap in their life where they were kind of not checked in emotionally for whatever reason, maybe traumatic experiences. A lot of our men experience having to grow up so fast, being in survival mode. Some men felt like they had to take on, which is very unhealthy, but we have learned this type of behavior, especially in African community. I'm sure in other cultures as well, where a boy was taught that he was the head of the household, the man wasn't there, now he's the man of the house. No boy should be the man of the house. But think of all the pressures that come along with that, and how some boys, and I grew up in the hood, you can say, where some boys felt like dad not dead. They got to take care of their sisters and their mother and their brothers. And so they may go out and do, illegal things like sell drugs or whatever just to provide for the family. And so, of course, being out in the street, you're learning a lot of unhealthy behaviors and getting involved in a lot of illegal activities, right? Which can land you in jail and or well, talking to the men who are here, but may almost lost their lives. So that's trauma right there. Experiencing so many tragedies, seeing tragedy, um, dealing with the law, having negative relationship with the law. I mean, all of that is traumatic. Being in gangs, fighting. So having these unhealthy relationships, a lot of men who experience that type of life, and some and others as well, where do they learn healthy relationships? Where do they learn healthy communication in those type of environments or in those type of activities? A lot of the relationships has been dysfunctional, and sometimes they don't even know that they are operating in a dysfunctional manner. They don't realize it. So to them, it looks normal. Like it's normal a lot of times for them to be in a relationship where they're arguing all of the time, back and forth, just constant cycling of things are good today. They lovey-dovey. And I remember I remember growing up and my mother's telling me about how a lot of times, she used to get involved with helping people. I'm gonna come back to what I was saying. Helping people who she saw a lot of times have these arguments or relationship issues, but then the next day they back together lovey-dovey again. And so she learned to be very careful when she intervene or interfere. Well, I don't even interfere because it's not like she interject herself. Sometimes people will call on her, crying out to her when they're having these problems. But then she said it taught her too to be very careful with that, because those same people will be and still be in that same relationship, dysfunctional as it is, and she dealt with her own things. But she said there'd be lovey-dovey tomorrow. It's like you wasted all of your time. But it's just so dysfunctional because you see that all of the time, especially where I grew up. I've seen a lot of couples fighting. I mean, they're outside fighting and yelling. I mean, it gets physical, violent. And then the next day they lovey-dovey. That's real unhealthy. Some of you think that's normal. It's not normal. The roller coaster of emotions is not normal. It's not even good for your nervous system. It's not good for your brain. I'm not even going to get into all that right now, what it does to your brain and the neurons and the transmitters and all of this stuff, and how it affects your body, how it can make you actually physically sick to endure all of that stuff. That's a lot. God did not mean for us to live that way. Again, we have to unlearn those things. We have to heal and to grow. We have to learn how to come together and have a conversation in a regulated, emotionally regulated state where I can hear, you can hear me, and I can hear you. And we could be empathetic and empathic at that moment where I'm taken into consideration. Don't always have to be in agreement, but I'm able to hear what you're saying and understand. That's what empathy is. I'm able to put on your lens, step in your shoes, almost kind of pretend like you are, right? Just to try to get an idea or understanding where you're coming from. And then we can come together and reason together. Just again, coming together with a certain level of comprehension. And that's it. And then learning how to resolve and understanding that we're on the same team. We're not in competition. So we don't end up being aggressive and insulting and disrespectful, right? But when you haven't learned that, and I always heard people say this when I was young, and I still hear it now. Now I'm saying it as well. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't have the skill set and the tools to do that, you won't do it. You have to learn it and learn it. That's why, like I said, I love one of my favorite classes in grad school was communication. When we studied the particular book, how communication is a forgotten skill. And especially in the days we live in now, when folks don't even know how to communicate well, and when they do communicate, they want to do it through text. They don't want to pick up the phone and call and have a real conversation. Even our coping level seems to be different today. Nobody really want to hear what you're saying in a tone because they just don't want to deal with it. It's too much. Everything is like a mental overload or sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? So you can't even have a real good dialogue. even in a respectful manner. I'm not talking about something that's chaotic and explosive. I'm just talking about having a communication, even if we don't see eye to eye. We can still listen and agree to disagree and say, you know, I understand, I hear you, I don't agree, or I don't feel the same way on. That's all. But we don't even know how to do that. So we just want to just end it just quick. It's like, wow, there's no resolve, there's no peace. Using biblical principles is what I teach and what I try to do. And so a lot of us still, we don't have that skill set, those tools. We didn't learn it. We didn't know how to add God in our relationships as the third strand. You know, a bond that's not easily broken because we have God in the center, and we are trying. We're never perfect, but every day we try to please God in what we do and what we say, because we see the other individual as a child of God, as our brother. And even if you're married, that's your brother and sister in Christ, spiritually speaking, but that's your spouse. So you respect them. You respect them as a child of God. And so just having a whole mindset and then operating in grace, learning to come together with the grace, with the empathy, having a high emotional intelligence, high EQ, where again, we have an understanding of why people do what they do. And we also are sensitive to other people's feelings and emotions and trauma and what they have gone through. And so when we have a high level of emotional intelligence, empathy is with that, then we always try to be conscious and intentional about how we approach them, because our mindset is we want to keep peace, we want to get an understanding, and we want to resolve, and that's it. Not bring dissension or discord, not intentionally. You intentionally want to bring peace, you want to bring resolve. And so, but who's teaching that stuff, right? We get it more today. And so those are the things that I like to talk about when I'm working with couples, whether I'm doing parent coaching, relationship coaching, premarital coaching, and I added on pre-engaged, because you need to see a person in different seasons. You need to see how they react. People can really talk a good game, and I believe they believe it at that time. And I've listened to women and men, but talking about men right now, idealistic, the type of man they want to be, the type of husband and father they want to be, and all these promises, but they can't follow through with it because they don't have the skill set or the tools. And so they need to learn those things. And the couples I work with, they're so receptive to that, you know, and doing it. We do it in such a way where we're all learning. I'm like, look, this stuff is reinforcement for me as I'm helping others and I'm working with couples. I'm helping me as well. It's a reinforcement learning. I'm learning as well. So I'm thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so when I get married again, oh my God, the tools, my toolkit has expanded. I've been married before for like 10 years, and then I've been single. So I've learned even the preparation, the relationship preparedness, the readiness thing, right? I've been able to do that myself, to do my own work. But being married, I've learned that as well, how to be a partner, a life partner, how to be there, that supportive role for my spouse, all of that stuff. And so being on both sides really does, it expands my tool belt and it gives me skills on both sides. So that's why I had to put in the pre-engagement part, because Lord have mercy, we just need to. But I was getting to the point how we need to see a person doing that friendship stage and that courting stage. Because again, ideally we can talk about, oh, I would be this type of wife and I would do that. But then you don't see that in me. You end up seeing something completely different during this stage. If it's in me, it's in me. I will be like that now consistently, not waiting till I get married to be all of the wonderful things that I say I would be as a wife. You will see those wife tendencies right now. You will see the fruits of it now. Because if it's in you, and it's going to be displayed, because it's going to be genuine and it's going to be authentic and organic, right? Because people can see that. Men can look at a woman and say, that is wifey material right there, just for lack of another term. because there's certain qualities and values that they look for, that they want in their wife. And so they see it on you already. They see the value, and what comes with that: the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, the mental, and all of those things, right? Be confident. People are attracted to when you're confident. I want to talk about that in relationships as well. But I want to hear men talk about their journey of preparing to be a husband and a father and a friend. But all of that. And I want to talk to men who've learned it, who are learning it. I mean, we're forever learning, but I mean, who come to a level of emotional maturity and intelligence where they are self aware. They can actually see where they're lacking in some of these skills, the skill set and the tools, and they're working on it. They've worked on a lot of things, or they want to work on it. So I want to talk to men in those three categories who've learned a lot, and they are equipped now. They ready, right? Ready to love. The ones who are practicing, new at practicing, should I say, right? Because I have the ones who learn it, but they still got to practice it for life. Then the ones who are new, they recently come into the realization of being self-aware, learning to grow emotionally mature, and preparing for healthy relationships. And I want to talk to a man, if I can find one, who can't admit that they're not there. They just learning about these things. They struggle, but they want to learn these things. Those, I want to talk to you. I really want to talk to that individual. And so that's what I have coming up. Coming up. I'm excited about that. I wanted to share that with you. If you have any ideas regarding my Patreon and relationships, what would you like me to talk about? Put some topics in the comment section, please, and let me see what you come up with. As I create my list, I will consider some things. And so this is what I need my tribe to help me do. Anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to share that with you. You have a good night, good evening, good morning, good day. Be blessed, everybody.